This episode is supported by MonsterJoysticks.com. Level up your Raspberry Pi with our all-in-one arcade kit using genuine Sanwa arcade parts. And OneClickPrint.com for your photos on canvas, acrylic, gifts and more. Local craftsmen and global delivery.
Hello Cave Dwellers, welcome to The Cave. Today we've got another very special guest for Show and Tell. It's Retro Ravi.
Hey, how you doing? It's great to be here.
Great, thanks for coming Ravi. Where might we know you from? Because you're quite well known in retro circles, aren't you?
So I do the Retro Hour podcast, which is every single week, and Dan Wood also joins me, and we have a guest on every week. So we've done 133 episodes. It's crazy. We've had so many people come on, and it's just like a fantastic archive of all of the old interviews, and comes straight from the horse's mouth, really.
Yeah, it's like a retro listening project, isn't it?
It's
great. And name some of the guests that you've had on the show.
We've had Nolan Bushnell, we've had John Romero, Eugene Jarvis, who did Defender, Lord British. It just goes on.
Yeah, so it's well worth a listen. I'm sure you know of the Retro Hour. If you're watching my channel, I'm sure you've listened to it. But also, you have your own YouTube channel.
Yes, Retro Ravi.
Retro Ravi.
I started very early in the YouTube world, but I kind of stopped making videos and got lazy before it all blew up. Yeah.
But more recently, you've got the 8-Bit Mix Show, haven't you? Is that YouTube or is that just podcast
I
only?
stream live, so I stream live every single month on the first Saturday of that month, and I pick a different genre and I DJ with the setup you're about to see.
Yes, and that's why I mention it, because it's all about the setup that Ravi's bought today. He DJs using retro computers, specifically Amiga 1200s, is that right? And we're going to see the setup. He's going to show us how it works. And then in a separate video later today, we're going to have a Rave in the Cave. He's going to do a full DJ set with the kit. We've got lots of cameras around the table for him, and I think we've got a GoPro as well to look down, and we can see him. That's the universal sign for DJing, but that doesn't really work with computers, does it? It's more sort of like that.
Yeah, or pressing the buttons.
Yeah. So we'll show you how it works, but we're going to have a good look at the setup. But before we do, he's bought it in a very special bag, which I want you to see. Take a look at this.
Ah, yes. It's quite heavy because it's got the Amigas in, but look at that. Ooh.
An official Commodore computer bag. You don't see many of those around these days.
No, not at all. And I think this has had a lot of wear and tear over the years as well. So.
Right, let's get it open and set it all up, shall we?
Here we go.
Okay, Ravi, you've got it all set up. There are some signatures all over this one, so we'll talk about that in a minute, because I'm sure there's something special about those. And we've got a blue Amiga case.
Yeah, this is a total custom job here, yeah.
So they're both stock A1200s?
These are both stock A1200s. The only thing that's different in them is the SD adapter. Right. So I use SD cards instead of compact flash.
Yeah. So from a DJ point of view, you've got what looks like a standard mixer in the middle.
Yeah.
No turntables. These are effectively
your turntables, but what you can do is you can also have Commodore 64s.
Okay.
Spectrums, anything that really plays a mod. You could have Tractor or an iPad.
Sure.
And as long as you can control the tempo in it, you can mix with the Amigas.
Yeah. And that tempo control comes down to the software, which we're going to look at in a minute, but we'll start with the hardware. So let's get you a close-up, and we'll get Ravi to take you through everything that's on the table here. Okay, so take us through the setup then, Ravi.
Yeah, so first we have our Amigas. Now, with the Amigas, the sound output, as we know, comes out mono. So basically, you have to have a little converter here, a phono converter, that comes out of the left output, and this pairs the signal.
Right.
So when you're DJing, you don't want drums in separate ears, because it makes a massive mess, and it's really hard to mix
because the Amiga is very well known for its stereo separation, isn't it?
Yes.
So if you use the left and right channels, you would just get the song sort of split in two.
Yeah, and some songs would have drums on the left and some would have drums on the right.
Right. So you're playing to a nightclub, you just have one side of the club getting the drums. So that's a pretty cheap solution, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really cheap solution. You can get it off eBay. And it's just literally a phono splitter. A Y splitter, it's called.
A Y splitter, okay. Yeah. And that goes in the left channel.
That goes into the left channel. And then this goes into the line in on the machine. And then we have these tiny screens. Now, these tiny screens are actually for in-car entertainment.
Okay.
So they're usually stuck in the back of a kind of car, and kids can sit there and watch their movies, keep them entertained. Now, I buy these off eBay, and you can basically convert them. I've done a little shoddy job here, so I can convert it to a 12-volt power supply.
Right, okay.
And these automatically run the 14 hertz signal.
Oh, okay. So
for the Amiga.
No trickery needed.
No modification. And they're around £21 on eBay.
International delivery, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So usually from China, these pieces.
Okay, so you've got your Amiga, you've got your Y splitter, you've got your display, regular Amiga power supply.
Yeah.
And an identical setup on this side?
Identical setup on this side, and sometimes I have identical tunes as well. Right. So I can mix a certain section of one and mix a certain section of other. Now, this originally would be done with floppy disks.
Right, yeah, of course.
So you could put it in, but the only problem with the floppy disks is you can only store a certain amount of mods on them because they're very small.
Yeah. So instead of your record bag, you would have had your floppy disk bag. Yeah.
So instead, I make these these SD cards with tunes already pre-done on them,
right? And
then put them in.
And I've seen the folder structure on that. You've got it broken down into genre, so you're
yes
ready from kids' parties to jungle
totally.
parties. You're ready with anything you like.
And the way that I found them is by going onto Modland, which is the world's biggest video game music FTP.
Okay.
And that has every single format. Sega Master System sound, PlayStation sound, but it also has the best Pro Tracker archive in the world.
Wow,
so I put certain words in there, like 90s tune or remix, and you will find thousands of crazy remixes. So it's around 2 or 3 years of collating tunes to create this.
And modland.com?
It's just Modland FTP, or you can do it through Exotica.
Okay.
Which is a special web page that you can search the Modland FTP with.
I'll get Ravi to give me the link, and we'll stick that in the description so you can find that if you're interested. Regular mixer, so we're just mixing from left and right Amigas, and then your normal bass, treble, gain, and things like that. There's nothing really much to talk about there, other than it goes into the Y cables and gets some power.
Yeah, and there's one thing that's required, which is skills for beat matching. So you need to know how to DJ to be able to use this. If you can't, then you need to learn on another format and then do it here. That's the human aspect.
Yeah, if you can't DJ with records, it's not going to naturally happen here.
There's no synchronized button or anything.
I said something that was probably a bit silly a minute ago, which was instead of records, you'd bring a bag of floppy disks. Yeah. But would you actually have been able to do this back in the day? Did the software exist?
No, this software was released recently.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have ever been able to do that.
You wouldn't have ever, unless you had 2 copies of Pro Tracker and you were good enough to have a mouse and mute certain sections, because the difference with this software is everything's linked to a hotkey.
Right. Instead
of a mouse interface, which makes it much easier for DJing.
From the ground up, built for DJing.
Yeah.
Okay, so a key part of the setup is obviously the software. Mm-hmm. So why don't you take us through that, Ravi?
Yeah. This software was made by Hoffman and Akira, and it's called PT1210, which stands for Pro Tracker 1210, because the 1210 decks are the industry standard DJ decks for everybody. Okay. So this software has been made by the demo scene guys, so they really know what they're doing. First thing is selecting a tune. So these are all my preloaded tunes, and I just press enter to select it. Now the tune will play from the start. I have a couple of things that I can change here. So I can change the beats per minute, which is essential for DJing. I can go up and down, and that means I could beat match with another one of a similar beats per minute.
So that's the pitch at the top right there. Is it 125 at the moment?
Yeah, that's the pitch. And then I can take individual channels out, which is really fantastic. So I can have drums, I can have all different kinds of stuff coming in. And you know, sometimes with these mods there's some awful samples because they were done in people's bedrooms and stuff. So sometimes you just want to cut something out. Now you have F1, which means that you can go back to the very start. And then you have a little scroll here. So plus and minus scrolls through the tune into the different blocks. F3 will make it so you can start from a new position and then use F1 to start from there.
So you're queued up and ready to just...
So you're queued up, so if it's a big drop or something, you can have that and just get bam, straight away. Also, it has a pattern loop. So let's just play here. I don't want to start from a new position, but I want to loop a certain amount of blocks. What I'd do is I'd press F10, which means the loop's starting now. This is the in. F10 again, and that's the out. So it will just loop that section. Or we can do a tighter loop, which will either be a 1 bar loop, 1 beat loop, which is what you can kind of build up to. A 2 beat loop for 6, 8, 16 and 32. And I think 32 is around half of a block. So you can just loop half of a tune and then kind of build it up and play around with that, which is really nice.
Now, for the purpose of testing here, we're using the Into the Wonderful track, aren't we, from the game Gods?
Oh yeah, Gods.
Have you ever dropped that in a nightclub?
I haven't actually, because it's quite slow.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
okay.
so there's a few Gods remixes that I have dropped there.
Yeah. But there are plenty of mod files that people would recognise, aren't there, as commercial tracks.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a movement at the moment of people producing commercial tracks. So even this week, I'm getting new tracks by people that have converted them into mod.
Mm-hmm. So do you want to give us an example then of you mixing some tunes?
Yeah, sure.
I'll step aside,
Yeah.
and Ravi, you can be in the mix.
Cool.
Just a flavour then, Ravi, of what's possible with this software.
Yeah, totally. And if you check out my 8-bit mix, you can see full sets that I've done as well.
Yeah. How many have you got out there? Because it's still a relatively new thing. For you,
there's
isn't it?
2 mixes out there at the moment, but there's going to be one every month. So.
And the mixes are by genre. So what have you done so far?
So far, I've done cheesy pop and speed garage. Next, I'm going to be doing happy hardcore.
Excellent.
Should be interesting.
There's something for everyone. There's some autographs here on the Amiga. Can you talk us through who you've got here? Because I've spotted one which immediately makes me excited. That's Rob Hubbard down there.
Oh yes, that one was a prize one to get. Now I've been going to computer events for many years, and all these people have been around there, and they're all the heroes that I've wanted to kind of always meet in my life, and they've signed this machine now. So here we've got John Hare of Sensible Software.
Okay, that explains Stay Sensible then.
Yeah, war's never been so much fun. And then we have Tim Wright here of Wipeout fame, and all of the amazing tunes that they had on there. We have
Alistair Brimble here?
Alistair Brimble from Team 17, Ben Douglas as well.
Wow.
We also have Bjorn Lynn, who did the Worm soundtrack.
Okay, Dr. Awesome.
Yeah, Andrew Barnabas as well, who did Swiv.
So you're just going to keep adding to this until there's no more room,
The way that I see it is it's like a touring Amiga. So I try and get everybody to sign it and kind of just keep going.
Excellent. I like it. Now, if you want to see a bit more of this setup, obviously we're going to do the Rave in the Cave later. We haven't filmed that yet. That's going to happen next. And you'll find that on my channel. But also, you've got a full set on your channel from a nightclub where you were supporting, was it DJ Yoda?
Yeah, this is crazy. So I've done 2 gigs, and the first one was an actual festival where Rob Hubbard was at. So I managed to kind of get his signature and stuff, and that was really nice. It was called All Your Bass Festival, and they had the guy who did Prapper the Rapper as well. Yeah, he was performing there. That was quite small, but then later on, DJ Yoda does a set which is called The History of Video Games.
Okay.
And he's kind of remixing and VJing old footage and stuff into it, and they needed someone who was related to video games, and I happened to work there, and my boss had actually seen my performance, and so it was really good. So I got to support Yoda in front of 400 people in a club, which was an absolute dream for me, for them to all be listening to Amiga. And the crazy thing was, when they explained that this music was coming from the Amiga, there was a massive laugh and roar from the audience until they actually heard it. And on a 10K sound system, hearing an Amiga really hits you there. The bass is really punching. I
would have liked to have been there. It sounds amazing. Now, we mentioned mod files earlier. Obviously, Yoda would have been using... What would he have been using?
He would have probably been using high-end MP3s or the vinyl decks, Serato, or some kind of mixing, new modern software.
Yeah. And with the mod files, I always liken it to rendering 3D on the fly rather than using a pre-rendered 3D scene in a video game. The Amiga's processing it at the time, isn't it?
So I'd say the only similar thing to mod files at the moment is stems, which is a system where you can individually take the drums out and everything's recorded separately. But mods, the way that they're built, it's just automatic.
And you had enough of a selection to keep that crowd going. And if you see the video, they are on their feet, they are dancing.
Yeah.
What were the kind of comments that you got afterwards then?
Some people were just saying, this is fantastic. I couldn't believe it came from it. And the way that I did the set as well was, I'm a real big fan of jungle music. So I thought, I have to play the video game music here, but then let's just go all out and go completely mad. And people seemed to like that, and it really got people hyped and dancing for the Yoda set.
What was the ultimate track? What did you end on?
I think it was Ready or Not, a drum and bass remix.
And bass, Fuji's Ready or Not. Nice, excellent. Well, Ravi, thank you so much for showing us. Obviously, we've got a lot more filming to do, and we're going to film another video about plagiarism, aren't we?
Yeah, so we're going to have another video because there's a lot of tunes that kind of, do we know if they've stolen from video games? And we're going to investigate that and kind of look at each of them and have a little analysis and a music quiz.
So I hope you enjoy that. You'll find that on Ravi's channel. Rave in the Cave's coming soon. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Ravi, and take care.
Thanks.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider supporting the channel using the links in the description, or simply subscribe and come back for more soon.